From MTN News, this is Montana This Morning.
Good morning and welcome to Montana This Morning on this Friday, December 29th. I'm Jackie Coffin in for Augusta McDonald. We start this morning looking ahead to 2024, which will be a pivotal election year for our nation and here in Montana. There will be several big races on the ballot, including the race for governor. And shaping up to be a political issue influencing this race is the recent increase to Montanans' property taxes. So much so, one candidate seeking election is making it a key issue. When Ryan Busse launched his campaign for governor, he did so with a video meant to send a message.
Gianforte's 20% property tax hike.
Oh yeah.
Throw it.
Busse grew up on a farm in Kansas, but has lived in Montana for 30 years, building a home and a business in Kalispell.
We love the Flathead. We love Montana. I worked in the firearms industry for almost a little over 25 years, I guess. So I was a firearms executive.
Busse eventually became disillusioned with the firearms industry. He has not run for public office before, but sees now is the time to step into the ring.
And I don't like the way the state is being turned into this place where we hate each other. It seems to me a lot of the last legislative session and the governor's sort of agenda is to make Montanans hate each other, and that's not the state that I love, and I don't think it's the state that most Montanans want to live in.
One area he wants to distinguish himself early is property taxes.
This tax increase, it didn't make things better, it made things way worse.
Taking shots at Governor Greg Gianforte in the 2023 legislature, Busse says he would prioritize readjusting the tax rate.
Just like past governors and past legislatures have done, and take back the tax breaks that we've given great big corporations like Northwestern Energy, which, by the way, had a $186 million profit and pays their CEO $3.4 million. I don't think we need to be giving them a tax break while we're increasing taxes on homeowners.
Busse and his family are also making waves when it comes to climate change. His two sons were among 16 young plaintiffs in a high-profile lawsuit that accused state agencies of violating a constitutional right to a clean and healthy environment. All issues setting the stage for a fast-paced governor's race in 2024, as only time will tell whether Busse will have both the cash and clout to unseat Governor Greg Gianforte.
I think it's time that somebody stand up to reframe Montana politics. Is really in keeping with the sort of live and let live wonderful Montana that so many of us have come to love.
MTN reached out to Gianforte several times to also talk about property taxes in regards to this story, but he has at this time declined an interview. And now from politics to weather with Ed McIntosh. Good morning.
Good morning. Big travel weekend coming up, so we thought we'd take a look around the country. Warmer than average temperatures, everything shaded in red. We're leaning towards warmer than average, which is pretty typical El Nino kind of pattern across western and southern portions of the country till you get to the southeast, which is typically a little wetter and cooler. So that's where we have any kind of travel concerns. It's also trending a little bit cool along the California coast as we start getting into the afternoon today, but we don't have any major delays that are weather related as far as trying to get on the airplane for today, but certainly your carrier could have their own concerns as well with the very big traffic concerns that we have over the weekend. Temperatures moving up into the 40s for later in the afternoon, a mix of sunshine, a few clouds, and we'll break down the rest of the forecast details for you just coming up in a few minutes from now.
Well, thank you so much, Ed. Not a bad looking forecast if you want to, like me, probably take a dog for a walk this afternoon.
And it looks like good dog walking weather here for a little while.
Yes.
Right.
Thanks. Nice to see you this morning, Ed.
You
We'll
too.
see you back here in a little bit. And new this morning, Maine is now the second state to remove former President Donald Trump from its 2024 ballot. It comes almost a week shy of the third anniversary of the January 6th Capitol riot. CBS's Jared Hill has the latest on the fallout.
This morning, the Trump campaign is vowing to challenge the decision by Maine's Secretary of State to remove the former president from that state's primary ballot.
I am mindful that no Secretary of State has ever deprived a presidential candidate of ballot access. And I'm also mindful that no presidential candidate has ever engaged in insurrection under Section 3 of the 14th Amendment.
The Trump campaign slammed the Maine official as a hyper-partisan Biden-supporting Democrat, accusing her of interfering in the election. Last week, Colorado Supreme Court also removed Trump from their primary ballot, also citing Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, which disqualifies a person who's engaged in insurrection from holding office. Both states have put their decisions on hold temporarily, pending appeal. And overnight, another state making a call on Trump. California's Secretary of State declined demands to remove the former president from that state's primary ballot.
We really need a decision from the United States Supreme Court to determine whether or not Donald Trump is qualified to run for and hold the presidency.
One of Trump's top GOP rivals, his former UN ambassador Nikki Haley, is now trying to clear up remarks she made Wednesday, not listing slavery when responding to an audience question in New Hampshire on what caused the Civil War.
It's a given that it's about slavery. To me, it was about but freedom.
The controversy as the former South Carolina governor was rising in the polls just weeks before the first primary voters cast their ballots. Jared Hill, CBS News.
Thank you, Jared. Independent presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has met the 1,000 signature requirement to qualify for Utah's 2024 general election. It puts him one step closer to being on the ballot there, which would be his first. And one of the largest adult content websites will now block people from viewing its videos in Montana. Pornhub made the decision in reaction to Senate Bill 544, a new state law that requires websites to verify the age of a person before they can access adult content. The company released a statement saying, in part, giving your ID card every time you want to visit an adult platform is not the most effective solution for protecting our users. SB 544 was sponsored by Democrat Senator Willis Curdy of Missoula. It passed through the legislature with a strong majority. And 2 Billings residents have joined a group of 9 plaintiffs suing the state of Montana over a 2021 law banning citizens and local governments from regulating single-use plastic. Q2's Kelsey Boggs brings us the latest on this ongoing legal battle.
Cups, to-go containers, and utensils. These are things you probably wouldn't think twice about throwing away. But one local group wants you to reconsider what you're putting in the trash and allow local governments to regulate what businesses are allowed to hand out.
Plastics are directly harming people's health.
That simple thought is why Katie Harrison joined in a lawsuit against the state in late November.
Unfortunately, it is at the point where we literally have to take matters into our own hands to stop this.
Challenging House Bill 407, a law passed in 2021 that bans citizens and local governments from regulating single-use plastics.
This bill is simply saying that certain prohibitions on the products we all use should be done on a statewide basis so that consumers and businesses have one standard that covers the entire state.
Harrison, who runs the local nonprofit Sustaina Billings, is joined in the suit by outgoing city councilman Danny Chiriki.
That's in direct contradiction to the Montana State Constitution, where it very explicitly says we have the right to home rule.
Back in September of 2022, we brought you a story with Harrison on her efforts to make Montana more green.
It's disgusting that I'm picking this up.
This January, MTN followed up with Harrison on her efforts to eliminate single-use plastics in the Magic City.
407 is considered the ban on bans.
We have real problems we are facing, and the Montana State Legislature has gotten in the way of dealing with them.
In 2017, a survey of 72 sites in the Gallatin River watershed was conducted to determine the presence of microplastics. 57% of sites were found to be contaminated. In 2019, 50 fishing access sites across the state were surveyed. 33 of those sites were contaminated. And last year, 12 locations in Flathead Lake were surveyed. All 12 locations were found to be contaminated.
That will be consumed by fish.
The complaint asked Lewis and Clark County District Court to strike down HB 407, giving the state 42 days to respond.
150 people are not going to be experts on everything. They need to listen to the experts.
They're finding microplastics everywhere. And this is a real issue. So if you care about Montana, you should care about this issue.
In Billings, Kelsey Boggs, MTN News.
Thank you, Kelsey. And new this morning, intense waves in California are capturing attention across the country. The mesmerizing display of Mother Nature's power potentially dangerous while damaging communities along the coast. 8 people were hospitalized after a powerful wave in Ventura County, California. Coastal flood and high surf warnings are in place across the state through the weekend. And now to the latest on the conflict in the Middle East. A 70-year-old Israeli woman with U.S. citizenship, originally believed to be a hostage in Gaza, was actually killed during Hamas's festival attack on October 7th. The kibbutz Judy Weinstein Haggai was taken from released the information yesterday. Israeli officials said last week her husband was also killed in the attack. And the countdown is on to the new year, and for many, it's a time to make goals for 2024. More than a third of Americans make New Year's resolutions. And this morning, CBS's Bradley Blackburn is catching up with experts for some tips on how you can keep them.
Right below where the ball will drop in the home of New Year's Eve, plenty are already planning for what happens January 1st.
I just want to focus on myself and work out more.
I hope to get back to lose a little weight, as always.
A new survey from Forbes Health finds, no surprise, the top resolution for 2024 is improving physical fitness. Number 2, improving finances. And number 3 is improving mental health. But psychologist Dr. Sabrina Romanoff says the way you phrase those goals can set you up for success.
That's one of the reasons why resolutions fail. They're too idealistic and they're not so specific.
So it has to be very specific.
Specific and measurable so you can see your progress over time.
For example, if your aim is to lose weight, break it down. Set a goal of 1 pound per week, or find a different metric.
That could mean eating vegetables 4 times a week. Let's say you want to do that for 4 weeks in a row, and then in 1 month you might say, I'm going to reevaluate and increase the challenge.
The average length of time a resolution lasts is 3 months. Just 1% made it a full year. But the act of setting goals is a good one.
Even if it's for a couple weeks, you tried your best.
Dr. Romanoff agrees success isn't black or white.
You can almost imagine them as like a compass, and you're coming back to your compass. What's really important to you.
An old routine to start the new year.
Always worth trying.
Because a promise to yourself can have power. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
Well, thank you, Bradley. Experts say rewards can also help us follow through on resolutions. So when you set a goal, decide exactly what you'll do to celebrate. It can be an effective source of motivation.